Welcome to Rise Above the Grind. I am your hostess, the Consultress, bringing you cutting edge conversations from people who are actively live creating value in today's age of disruption. Today, we have Alex MacPherson, who is passionate about giving people the proper information and helping them design a future that helps them not only grow their wealth, but make sure that they are in the driver's seat and making decisions that reflect who they are. So, Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Amazing to have you.
Yeah, dude. So you've been in here as a VIP panelist. There are some folks out there who want to be in our audience. We're going to have this straight talk around, first and foremost, defining words. In today's culture, words are changing meaning. And when we say things to other people, it's not necessarily what we say that they hear. Everyone's got subjective ears. So when I bring the term grind up, everybody's got another definition. So how does grind show up for you in your vocabulary?
So grind has a couple different meanings, and I'll share all of those as we're discussing. But I think the biggest part of it is what are you doing every day, and how are you sort of planning your day, going about. What are your goals? Are they structured? The grind is getting into it, making sure that you're working hard, having again a specific set of goals every day. What am I trying to accomplish? And it's the proverbial how do you eat the elephant is one bite at a time. Being very specific about the way you're approaching things. And by that, I mean finding a set goal with a client or with yourself every day. How am I measuring what I'm doing and being purposeful about it? And I think a lot of it is we've all had situations where we've seen someone who may do, similar work to us or compete with us or whatever the case might be. And if you're like me, you've probably had that thought process at one point of why is somebody doing something more than me? They're not smarter than me. They're just working harder, or they've found the right connections and been finding ways to get things done. And I think so if you kind of encompass a lot of that into that definition of, what is the grind, it's getting to work. Clearly there's outcomes that we all want to have. And are we being purposeful about measuring those and kind of seeing what our results are and being real with ourselves of what's working and what's not?
Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So being real with ourselves about what's working and what's not, and being purposeful about where we focus our attention and our activity. What I'm picking up is not only is it like the daily grind. I heard you say being
Yeah.
purposeful, your goals for the day, your goals for your outcomes. But that requires the setting of intention before you quote unquote get into the doing of what you're doing. So in your definition, not only is it something that is habitual, but not habitually like mind out of the picture. It's habitual focus and purpose, which it brings up, it begs the question, when you hear the word grinding, and then you say, get into your daily grind, it's almost like a battle cry, like a call to action to be purposeful, intentional, on purpose. So how does that show up when you're planning out your week, or you're planning out your day? What are some of the things that set you up to be like in that grind, the way that you define it, to have it be the most valuable and meaningful time for your attention?
I think it's taking those moments before you really jump into the grind. Again, setting very specific, attributes and goals that you're trying to reach. I think we've all had it where you get somewhere, you're in the office or in front of a client, and you hit the button and you're going, and then you look up and 6 or 7 hours have disappeared very quickly, and you never really got anything done that you wanted to that day. As you get caught up doing all the other things that get thrown at you along the way. So whether you need to break out time where you're not going to be picking up every single phone call or text or email immediately, and getting through those things to tee yourself up for future success. I think it's got to be very clear and purposeful to be able to accomplish those things.
And this may sound a little bit redundant, but time blocking what's important and when. In the beginning of my day, I never hop into my email inbox. I learned this almost 15 years ago now. I think I was in a room with Brendan Burchard, and he was like, your inbox is a list of other people's priorities for your time. So for me, being an early bird, that's my most creative time. It's my most connected and intentional time. So for me personally, when I'm setting up the framework of my day, from the time that I wake up, I need at least an hour of silence for meditation, journaling, prayer, what have you. And from there, I need to do things that support my home, my household, my habitual devotions in my household so that I clear the deck of all the things that'll bell and whistle and pull my attention throughout the rest of the day. Because if I am now to focus on getting done the stuff I'm tasking myself with to bring the business forward, I need to know that I'm not like, oh crap, I forgot this, or I feel depleted because I haven't poured and filled my own cup first. And I've learned that along the way because I grew up in a family business where we were shot out of a cannon. 4:30 a.m. Get up, time to work. We got to put on the coffee and make the bagels and open the doors and have a shiny happy face. So I've intentionally had to create that space for myself to have what I feel supports my best self. So now in light of determining, what things mean to you, you're doing this to set yourself up for your best success. What are some of those outcomes that get priority for you in getting your intentions set for your day to day?
I think there's a couple things. One is you call it delighting a client or delighting someone else. I'm that guy who's talking to random people in elevators and wherever. It's something I got from my dad years ago. I'm always shocked at how many clients I end up getting from something like that. Um, but a lot of it I find is it's when I'm happy doing something. Like I found this out about myself years ago. When I enjoy what I'm doing and I'm happy doing it, like I'm much better at it. And I think, previous jobs I had, I was a commercial and private banker for a number of years and was successful at it. But I'm working within somebody else's framework where they're constantly moving target. And there's a lot of distractions about not doing the right thing by a client, which I have serious issues with. They're trying to push widgets at a client to reach an outcome that they want, and it's not what's best for a client.
Mhm.
I realized a long time ago, like I'm not okay doing that. It makes me miserable, and I'm not showing my best part of myself to a client because I'm always just bluntly honest with them, and they say, "Does do this," and I'm like, "Doesn't help you. It actually only helps me." So if that's what you want to do, fine. But I just want to make sure I'm very clear that this isn't giving you anything. It's actually taking things away from you. And for me, it's when I know I can hit on all those things, like I'm doing the right thing by a client, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and we're all going to have days where it is a grind more so than we actually think it may be. Um, that's what fires me up and gets me going in the day, where I know I can get in there and just love what I'm doing every moment.
Yeah, and the people that it's attached to. I heard I love to be in joy, in flow. Like when I'm on and I'm at my best, it's because I'm focusing on delighting other people. Whether that's a smile in the elevator, like you said, and this, by the way, is why we're friends. Because that attribute of like your smile is your walking business card. It's what attracts people to you, and why in this forum we want to know, how are you thinking? Who are you? Because when people do business with people they know, then like and trust, like doesn't matter what you're selling. Who you are is the reason why people are attracted to what it is that you're offering at all. So I love that delight is at the center of your focus of how you provide experiences for your colleagues, for your clients. And so was there a time when the grind held a different definition for you?
Oh
Because you
yeah,
did mention a little bit about like, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And
I
I
tested that
also am
theory.
a recovering financial services professional. So bring us back a little bit into how you determined that this was how you prefer to live and made the choice because you were experiencing the alternate of it.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. It's one of those bigger life lessons. I think in one of my jobs I had as a private banker a number of years ago, I'm working 70-hour weeks, even though the office is close by my house, like by the time I'm getting home, my kids are asleep. And I distinctly remember being on a family trip, and I think I'd maybe taken 3 days of vacation the entire year. And my older daughter was describing to one of her friends while I was on yet another conference call. She's like, vacation is where dad works from somewhere else. And it was like taking that hot dagger and sort of jabbing it into my chest of like, I'm working really hard for someone else. And the people that I care about the most are missing out. And it's sort of where's that balance in between? So that's when sort of grind changed definitions for me pretty drastically. It was yes, I don't mind working hard and putting in the hours when I need to, but I'm also going to leave at 4 o'clock one day a week to go coach a 10-year old soccer team because it's what I love doing. Um, it's finding again that balance that works for you. And that's, I think, where the grind definition really kind of shifted.
Right on. And so sometimes I mean, I know for me, I'm always wanting to paint the world with rainbows, what the good part is, what's possible, what's the vision. But I forget oftentimes, and thank you for the reminder that um, when we are in pain, it's because we notice that there is something we prefer. And I learned this back when I was became certified as a human potential trainer of all things. And it's like pain is actually a teaching tool. It teaches us that we have a preference and that we're not living into that which we are intentionally creating. So for me, going to work for someone else, wearing a suit, taking the train into New York City and, working up on, 42nd and Madison, um, I realized at some point that I was putting my hard-earned or God-given talents to work for something that I wasn't sure I believed in. And they weren't getting the best of me. And I wasn't giving the best of me. And every time I made a job change in the financial services industry at the time, I felt like I was happy and explosive and saw a possibility. And that at some point, my outlook would change, or I would get what I called my attitude problem. Like I hit a ceiling, or I hit a place where I couldn't be effectual anymore. And then I started to get curmudgeony. And that was the point at which I decided, I used to get grief for it. People, you're always resetting, you're always starting over. Why can't you just keep a job? And I'm like, now as an entrepreneur, looking back at that experience over 20 years ago, it was just teaching me that I'm unwilling to settle for less than my full potential. And I wanted to be in a place where I knew that I could be valuable to people. So I chose a road less traveled. I redefined what success meant to myself. And now, as I look back at my community, at all of the people that are in my network, like my life is so full because I've learned so much from everyone that I've met in the pursuit of curiosities. So now I'm obsessed. I need that curiosity in my life to guide my next steps forward. So it sounds very much like having that pain and experiencing what I didn't want drove me towards my passion and my purpose. So, any words of wisdom for people who are just trying to put some of this wisdom that you've given us into practice, Alex?
I'd say two things. One is find something that makes you happy and gets you up in the morning, and find a way to make that your job. I think that's been huge turn for me, is being my own boss, running my own business within a much bigger company, where I'm free to do that. And two is, you gotta find some time to balance life. I think, it's one of those ones where, as we're getting older, and I hit 52 this year, like you have those moments where you look back and like, I wish I was doing something else or being involved somewhere else. It's taking those moments to smell the proverbial roses along the way. I think, again, if you can find that balance in there, it's an amazing thing.
Well said. So, Alex, as we bring this interview section to a close before we go into our VIP panel and with our live studio audience, where can people go to connect with you and learn more?
Sure. So, again, I'm based in New York, but I've got clients around most of the East Coast and one in California. I do a lot of my work virtually, but always open to just, even if somebody's got a question, just wants a straight answer. Like, listen, I'm happy to do that for the right people. I think years ago I made the decision I'm going to work with people that I like. That was a big turning point in my life as well. But again, feel free to connect, either email, phone. I love chatting with people on the phone and just learning more about what they're up to. I think you always find when you talk to somebody, there might be a completely different subject you end up talking about, which
Yeah.
we get to both learn a little bit more about each other. But yeah, would love to connect anytime.
All right. So, phone, email, you heard it here. Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Okay, so find Alex MacPherson. He and I are connected. Find him on LinkedIn and then say, hey, can we have a chat? I saw you on Rise Above the Grind. Such meaningful conversation. We're going to take behind the scenes now in our VIP panel. DM me if you'd like to gain access and apply to be an audience member or a panelist. And in the meantime, in this age of disruption, the choice is yours. How you view your situation and the situations of others is what creates the future. So change your mind, change your circumstances, and you've got some bits and pieces of wisdom from today's conversation to implement in your life. Let us know in the comments how this conversation is hitting and landing in your world. We'd love to hear from you. And stay tuned. There's another episode queued up right after this. Don't go away.